Our pace of living leaves us little time for leisure. Our program will give you a chance to experience the fascinating world of traveling, extreme adventures, hunting and fishing. Each week we will take you to the most beautiful places of Kazakhstan. What is a no season? A no season is a period when hunting and fishing are closed. Then the tackle is left on the garage shelf and the rifle is in the safety locker for a long time. But for some reason you cannot sit at home during the weekend, and we decided to tickle our nerves among the paragliders. The sun was breaking through the curtains. Dressed in sports clothes, we went to the meeting place to join the entire caravan of athletes and then went to the special airfield, the deltadrom. I want to paraglide so much, but I'm not sure if they will accept me. Today is the day for beginners, so-called rookies. That is how extreme sport lovers call freshmen. We will try to become one of them, but we hope this nickname will not stick with us for too long. We are grimly determined to learn to paraglide and be part of this company. Yevgeniy Oreshkin, the leader and founder of the Paragliding School in Almaty, will take us to the 31st kilometer today. This is one of the most popular airfields. The deltadrom on the 31st kilometer was opened 30 years ago officially. Since then, any time of the year, almost every weekend people come with the aim to learn paragliding or hang gliding. The deltadrom slopes allow to train new pilots safely and to optimize the learning programs on passive and sailing flights on hang gliders and paragliders. Most of Almaty pilots sailed up into the clouds for the first time from this very deltadrom. Yevgeniy Oreshkin, the trainer, developed several educational programs signed for working people who are ready to dedicate only several weekends for learning. At an average, the program includes 60 practical hours and 20 hours of theory. During this period of time, you are able to get the basic theory and develop principal skills of how to control the paraglider. Each pilot gets their own kit of flying equipment during the learning period. But first of all, you need to know that the deltadrom is a bleak territory in the foothills. That is why the apparel and footwear should be comfortable, warm, safe and not hampering. For today, it is one of the most popular sports because the paraglider is a very accessible flying vehicle. It is much easier to learn how to paraglide than to learn how to fly a plane or a helicopter. It is the simplest air sport. You cannot call it an extreme one. Everything concerning aviation cannot be extreme, because only professionals should fly. You need to start from point zero in order to become a professional. But before you reach that level, everything will be considered extreme. We are not just extreme pilots. There are amateur pilots, which includes prepared people who know how to act in different extreme situations. For example, if we take an unprepared person and let them fly the paraglider, it will probably be an extreme sport for them. It is not enough to learn how to lift the paraglider from the ground, balking like a horse trying to budge the loaded wagon, but at least the fellows and I already learned how to lift the paraglider. There are a lot of theoretical aspects that one needs to learn, and one weekend is not enough. I need to come and listen to the lectures in the club. I hope to increase my level of knowledge and skills. As a first step, Yevgeniy suggested to keep watching what the experienced pilots do. Motility is key.
Летать просто, но нужно много
The
знать.
flying process itself is quite simple, but first of all, you need to understand the weather. It means you need to know meteorology to understand the models when the paraglider flies and when it does not, what is impossible to do and what is prohibited to do. If you know everything and you are prepared, you practically won't be taking any risks. 10 years ago, there were very few pilots in comparison with nowadays. Now, there is not even enough space at the deltadrom. Young people are everywhere with their bright wings. The modern history of paragliding started in 1964, when the American designer Domina C. Jalbert invented the concept of an unusual guided kite, a parachute. It was sewn from two pieces of cloth and had a rectangular form. During the flight, the space between the cloth plies was filled with air. The parachute got volume and weight, and then whole structure turned into a wing, producing the lift.
Спорт молодеет. То есть, если раньше пилоты были это уже зрелые люди.
The sport is attracting younger people. Earlier pilots were mostly adults. Nowadays, a lot of students, young people, even kids come to fly. If the kid comes with a parent, we will give the child an opportunity to fly, not so high, and not by themselves, but they will be able to make lift-off maneuvers. Yevgeniy Oreshkin's son has grown up here on the deltadrom. He is still a teenager, but is already a top-notch paraglider pilot, at least in comparison with us, the rookies. I've been flying since my childhood. Even flew off a height of 50 meters. My father was my instructor.
Он занимается с раннего детства. Он еще сюда маленькой лялькой приходил.
He's engaged since he was really little. He came as a baby, jumped, shouted and tried to run with little clothes, imagining himself as a paraglider. And now you don't have to teach him practically. He has seen people flying, learning to fly so many times that he will make it for sure. The paraglider is the slowest flying vehicle but the safest one. It is simple in teaching and even allows the pilot to make mistakes. All of the paraglider's components are flexible and there are basically no rigid elements in its construction. You need to put a lot of efforts to get the wing off the ground, to fill it with air and to run to the starting point. Who hasn't tried would not understand. You need to take several long steps. Press the harness to the body, the wind should flow from the front to fill the air inlets with the windstream and the paraglider opens. The paraglider harness is connected to the free ends of a suspension lines network by snap holes and keeps the pilot in a position that is comfortable for the flight under the wing. The main principle of all harness systems is the seat with the back support, shoulders, waist and leg straps. Structurally, the harness is made of soft elements. Firm linear in several cases, the belt system snap hooks and regulating elements. Depending on the preferences, the pilot's position in the harness can be sedentary, accumbent and semi-lying.
Летать вообще-то нужно учиться долго, всю жизнь.
You can be learning to fly for a long period of time, your entire life even. You need to enjoy the process of learning. I have been flying for 20 years already, and every time I discover something new, you fly better and better. Paragliding is a very interesting sport. It is not boring. You always set a new standard to accomplish. Talking about the first basic education, it takes 20 days to learn to control the run and take off. The first task is the most difficult. When the person gets into the paraglider for the first time, they usually do not know what to hold, what to pull, and there is the utmost hazard. Extreme situations are those situations for which you are not prepared. Yevgeniy Oreshkin admitted there were some moments where even the professionals found themselves in non-standard situations. But nothing can stop the person who is experiencing absolute freedom during the flight. Earlier, all boys had dreams of becoming cosmonauts or pilots, and today you can fly without any engine like a bird. There is only the sky, the wing, absolute freedom, and you gliding up over there. This is considered an extreme sport, but knowledge of the wing control and aerodynamics levels out all hazards. Also nowadays, the paragliders use such wings and equipment that significantly diminish risk to human life. It happens that the paraglider starts collapsing in flight, but recovers independently. In this case, it is important not to interfere with the wing's flight. In every emergency case, there is a definite set of pilot's acts that will allow the wing to recover to the normal flight mode. One should learn all of them.
Любой спорт, если им заниматься невдумчиво, без головы и рисковать, он опасен. То есть, по мне, например, кажется, что...
Each sport is very dangerous if you engage in it without any responsibility. Downhill skiing and motorsport are more dangerous in my opinion. Downhill skiers are crazy at large. In fact, I understand that if you learn how, it is not so hazardous. The risk is limited. We are not thrill seekers. We know a lot, there is discipline. There are two methods to manage the paraglider: aerodynamic and balanced. Both of them are used in flight. Having tightened the toggles, the pilot bends the rear edge of the cupola to change the aerodynamic forces affecting the paraglider and the flight path. If the toggles become entrapped, lost or broken for any reason, you can manage the paraglider with the free ends of the fourth row of straps. Being honest, it gave me a thrill. You become one of them, you are not a rookie, you are not a freshman, and it changes your perspective somewhat. Now you understand what a fine line there is between here and there. When you are at the deltadrom, it is as if you are on the edge of a razor, on a thin rope until the landing. But now each minute has its own meaning. So when you walk out of house, you lift the head up to see whether there are any clouds. A person who has experienced the feeling of the flight cannot reject this sport anymore. If you became familiar with the paraglider, felt the freedom, you would be sky-sick. The weather forecast would play a critical role in your life. Our Kazakhstani paragliders fly everywhere. This is possible wherever there are any mountains. Fellows write their impressions on the websites. These are some abstracts from their messages. What do flights in India mean for the beginners? There are dozens of small and big self-victories, triumphs over fear, an incommunicable admiration, perishing fear, a sequence of moments of struggle and desperation. It is hard work and pleasure. There is an infinite number of definitions, different and similar for everyone, and all together. I'm in the air, I'm calm, there are toggles in my hand, and the whole body feels the wing. My body is a wing, its reflection and vice versa. I glide the cupola with the movements of my arms, the body bent at a landing angle. I'm flying with my body, and the paraglider's cloth is my sensory organ. I fumble for air, I get the stream structure, the character of its movements. An altitude rate indicator is my other sensory organ. I am not a human being, and I don't want to be a human being. I want to fly. The straps are an additional nervous system. I can feel my flexible, alive, soft, elastic, and infinitely changing wing through them. There is no outer surface, no engine, and no fuel consumption. I am not driving in the air, I'm flying. The paragliders admit there is nothing better than the mountains, except the mountains where you have not yet flown. The paragliders' lessons are difficult, but this sport is an attractive one, no less than hunting or fishing. Now we have worked during the period of time that fishermen and hunters call a no-season with a sad heart. We can add the paraglider to our armory of the fish tackle and hunter ammo. There is a lot of space in the garage.